Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about HubSpot. If you're hustling in the trenches to build a business or bootstrapping one of your own, let's talk about an AI-powered tool that can lighten up your workload a bit. HubSpot's Campaign Assistant is a game changer for creating marketing campaigns at scale. It quickly turns your key selling points into a cohesive pitch, which helps you deliver knockout emails, ads, and landing pages in minutes. So let Campaign Assistant take care of the campaigns so you can get back to growing your business. Work smarter, not harder at HubSpot.com/campaign-assistant.
Hey everyone, it is Tuesday, September 27. I'm Juliet Bennett Rylah, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. Today, we're going to talk about what's going on in Iran and how secret cinema became a wildly popular success among TV and film fans. Before that, let's take a quick look at what else is going on in business and tech. The British pound briefly dropped to its lowest point since 1985 on Monday. According to the New York Times, this matters because it can increase the cost of imports, bumping inflation, and make it more expensive for British people to travel abroad. About 1,000 restaurant workers at San Francisco International Airport went on strike Monday for better pay. They've been negotiating for months without an agreement, and union reps say current wages are not enough to live on. The Biden administration has proposed a new set of rules that would require airlines to refund passengers for Wi-Fi that they bought but doesn't work, and disclose any fees up front. Netflix also announced a new internal game studio based in Helsinki. This would be Netflix's fourth game studio. Each one is intended to develop different games for the diverse tastes of Netflix subscribers. One of those studios, by the way, is Night School, which Netflix acquired in 2021. And just recently, it released a new edition of its mystery horror game Oxenfree, appropriately titled Oxenfree Netflix Edition, in 31 languages. In other news, it is puffling season, which is apparently when Icelanders collect baby puffins and throw them off cliffs. This is actually not a bad thing. Baby puffins use moonlight to find the ocean, but sometimes they get confused by city lights and they turn around and they go the wrong way. So they need a little help from humans getting to their destination. Our first story today is about what is going on in Iran. So there is a deadly situation that has resulted in internet blackouts for its 80 million citizens. And it's leaving the U.S. government and private companies scrambling to get Iranians back online. The backstory here is that Mahsa Amini, who was 22, died in police custody earlier this month, 3 days after she was arrested by Iran's morality police for allegedly not wearing her headscarf properly. Now, authorities claim she died of a heart attack, but her family alleges that she was beaten to death by police. Since then, there have been widespread protests across the country, and at least 41 people have died, per The Guardian, although there may be more, and that count may continue to rise as protests continue. The Iranian government has also restricted internet access and social media platforms, which it also did amid deadly protests over fuel prices in 2018. Now, what this means is that citizens cannot communicate with each other or document what's happening to the rest of the world. And U.S. sanctions actually play a role in this. Back in January, there was a Washington Post article about this. It was talking about how the sanctions had essentially restricted internet services and platforms to personal communication, so blogging, social networking, those kind of things. This actually limited Iranians' access to new tech and made it easier for authorities to shut down services. There's an analyst who was quoted in this article, Holly Dagris, and she said that the sanctions forced Iranian tech community to move their communication platforms and cloud services inside Iran, thereby making it easier for authorities to conduct surveillance and shut down the internet during times of unrest. And that's where we are now. We're in a time of unrest. So what is happening? Last week, the U.S. Treasury Department issued an updated license that allows U.S. tech companies to expand services and platforms. Elon Musk's SpaceX also activated its Starlink service in Iran. There are some concerns that this will not go well or it may not work. This also happened with Ukraine. Now, the difference is that Ukraine wanted internet connection, so they wanted the terminals to come into the country. In this case, some are concerned that the thousands of terminals that need to be smuggled into Iran will pose a barrier. At the same time, Signal is asking the public to help set up proxy servers to help Iranians reconnect to its messaging app. If you want to kind of monitor what's going on here, there is an internet watchdog called Nextblocks. They have a Twitter account. They've been monitoring internet access and posting a lot of charts where you can see how access has been fluctuating. So if you're interested, you can follow that over there. Our next story today is about secret cinema. So what is secret cinema? It was founded in 2007. Since then, it's sold over 1 million tickets and it's partnered with the likes of Disney, Universal, Paramount, Netflix. But what is it? It is a screening series, but it is special in that it's very immersive. So fans are invited to dress up. And then for a couple hours before the screening takes place, there are actors portraying different characters from that world that you can interact with and different activities that you can participate in, all with the purpose of sort of immersing you in that property. So I'll give you a couple examples. They did a Casino Royale event, which obviously is part of the James Bond series. And before people went, they were assigned secret identities. So they were all secret agents and they had an alias. And then they got there and they had different missions they needed to complete. So maybe you had to deliver a message from one character to another, or some people were tasked with playing high stakes poker. That's the thing James Bond does a lot. There was a Stranger Things event where people went to the Starcourt Mall and they got to play arcade games and have ice cream from Scoops Ahoy. I actually went to one of these. Netflix did one for Arcane, which is an animated series based on League of Legends. I had never played League of Legends, but it didn't seem to matter because as soon as I got there, I understood what was going on. It was set in a place called the Undercity, which in the show is this sort of seedy underbelly where all sorts of illegal, shady things happen. And as soon as I got there, it was like, oh, you're part of this faction and you have to solve all these puzzles and do all these tasks for us. And so I just spent like an hour running around, kind of like in a big open world escape room. It was pretty fun. And if you didn't want to solve any puzzles, they had actually recreated a bar from the series so you could just sit and drink and watch people act out the show. So something for everyone, perhaps. So how popular are these things? Well, in 2018, they did a Blade Runner screening in London. And so many people went that it actually bumped the film, which came out in 1982, back into the UK box office's top 10 for 11 weeks, which is pretty impressive. So with this acquisition, what's going to happen are a couple of things. They are going to try to set up a permanent location in Los Angeles and then another in London. Right now, it's a lot of short-term production. So, hey, we're going to have this event. It's going to go on for 2 months or whatever. This will allow them to do more open-ended theatrical runs where things can go on for several months longer as long as there's demand. Additionally, they are going to go on tour in the United States in 2023. We don't know what that tour is, although Todaytix CEO and co-founder Brian Fenty said it will be tied to an iconic, beloved American film. I really hope it's Roadhouse, but you know what? That's probably not it. So this seems interesting. We have an increasingly online world where people are streaming stuff from home, but secret cinema is an experience that you can't stream at home. You have to go out and do it. So for people who are really missing that, this might be something you want to check out and see when it's coming to I guess not a theater. It could really be anywhere near you. And that's going to do it for us today. Thank you for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you are not subscribed, you can do so over at thehustle.com. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey guys, if you listen to the Hustle Daily Show on Google Podcasts, we want to let you know that the option will no longer be available pretty soon. Google is sunsetting its podcast app sometime in early 2024 in favor of YouTube Music, and we want to give you a heads up before it's too late since that time's almost here. The Hustle Daily Show is available everywhere and anywhere that you listen to podcasts like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're using YouTube Music, we are there as well. If you're an Android fan, there are plenty of apps like Overcast, Pocket Casts, Player FM, and more. So just search for us wherever you decide to listen to your favorite podcasts.